Stacy was just getting annoyed at the transition in that opening. So we're going to work on that system and she's going to clean it up for you. But today it's all about why motivation is overrated.
It is.
And what really works instead. And that's true, right? So we're going to talk about 3 things, and these are your takeaways, so you want to stay tuned. Motivation is fleeting, right? Why it really won't take you to the finish line. That's number 1. Number 2 is routines equal results, right? That's the real secret to long-term success. And then number 3 is leveraging your environment. So how do you set yourself up to automatically win and not worry about motivation anymore? So welcome to Hot Topics. Today we're diving into just that. We're diving into something that I know everyone struggles with. This is the number 1 thing that I think over all the years of coaching I've had, which is everyone struggles with motivation. So if you've ever said to yourself, I don't feel motivated, this episode is for you.
Spoiler alert, everyone thinks motivation is the key. However, motivation is highly overrated. Yeah. It is. And the real secret to success is not about waiting for motivation to magically embark on you. It's about creating the systems that makes motivation irrelevant.
Right. System. Yep. That's one of our favorite words, right? We're going to break it down, all of this, into 3 simple, actionable strategies that will really help you to stop relying on motivation and start getting real results by working with systems.
Absolutely, because motivation is fleeting. So let's be real. Motivation really is like that bad ex, right? Like it shows up when they want it, but you don't want it, and it disappears when you need it and maybe want it the most, and it is completely unreliable.
Yeah, we're just dumping on exes today. But, right, if you only really take action when you feel like it, you're really setting yourself up for inconsistency, frustration. It's not going to work. And what works, what helps people succeed, they don't rely on motivation. They rely on discipline and systems. I can't say that enough. So if you're looking at these programs that say, here's your motivation factor, it's not going to do you any good. You have to look for the ones that say discipline and systems, even though it's not so sexy. It works.
Exactly. So that's why inside our Ultimate Life Reset, we talk about systems. I think I'm going to count the amount of times we've said systems so far, but it's true because we don't just want it to be, we hope you take action, right? It's not about that. We actually want you to make a difference. We actually want you to take action with a roadmap and accountability to make sure you actually achieve your goals.
Yeah. So roadmap is really key. So the systems are in place of that. So if you're wanting to get from A to ZZ, then you need that system in place. So here's a little thing I'm going to give you for Chachi, for ChatGPT is why don't you jump in there if you're listening to us now and you happen to have access. You can access on your phone. They have a great app. So ask Chachi, what is the one simple way to take action on this goal, whatever goal it is, without needing motivation? So it's going to give you some little tiny micro steps, which we talked about in our last podcast, to help you start it today.
Absolutely. So how many people sit there and go, if I only had the motivation, I could be more successful, or look at those guys doing all of those things. They must be more motivated than I can tell you that's not true. The most successful people in the world do not have more willpower than you do. They don't have more motivation than you do. They simply have better systems and routines.
And routine sounds like a really dredging, uncomfortable word, but actually routines is great because it takes the guesswork out of that roadmap to success. So when you automate your actions, they become habits, right? And once they become habits, they become effortless. So, think about a routine like a checklist. If you have a checklist every morning that you do in the morning, that's your routine. And what happens is you achieve it because you know exactly what to do, you get it done, and then you move on. We want to create those routines into your entire life.
Absolutely. And they say, how many days does it take to create a habit? And the reason that they talk about that is because if you can do something consistently and it becomes a habit, then it takes the thought out of it, which is great because then you don't have to think about it. I remember one of our clients, they struggled for years with inconsistency, right? Like, I'm sure they were like you, right? They started something and then they didn't finish it. They started something and then they reverted back to their old habits, right? Because old habits, the whole concept with habits, you don't have to think about it. That's why we revert back to them, right? But we help them actually design a 5-minute morning routine.
Yeah.
Right? That actually was easy for them and it set them up for success. And then guess what happened? In 90 days, they completely transformed their productivity. Love that.
Yeah. And it's a good way to start to learn. So think about your morning routine. How many of you wake up? Here's the thing about neuroplasticity and everything we were talking about the other day. So, or the other week, I guess. So what your brain, what you get up and do in the morning, that's what happens in the morning. So think about this. Let's say you get up in the morning and you think, oh, I'm so tired. How am I going to get through the day? You've immediately set your brain up to think that entire day. That's all it's going to say is, I'm so tired. And it's going to reinforce it by giving you that. But if you develop a routine in the morning to change that and make you feel good and excited about the day, then that will change. So you can ask ChatGPT, for example, to help me design a simple morning routine that aligns with my goals and that's easy to stick to. And you might say, I have 5, I have 10 minutes, but I want to be positive and I want to be action oriented in that. And so if you design a routine that for the first 5 minutes, you get up and go, I can't wait to get started. It's one step closer to my goal. Then that's what your brain is going to tell you all day long. It's going to say one step closer, one step closer.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So what happens if you actually want to change your habits and actually leverage your environment?
Well, I mean,
that was a question, not a statement, but that's okay.
Okay, so we all know that your environment shapes your actions, right? More than you realize, right? And science backs this up. When you make good habits easier and bad habits harder, success becomes automatic. So a lot of people, for example, that say they want to get up in the morning and walk or run, they will put their shoes at right beside their bed, right? And they'll put their shorts or their t-shirt, whatever. And so when they get up, they automatically just put everything on and go. You've made it easier for you to go ahead and create that good habit. And that's really key. If you make your environment easier, it's easier to do. We are doing our podcast in our studio. We have our light set up, right? We have our microphone, everything's ready to go. So if we want to, on a dime, we want to talk about something, we turn on the light and we're ready to go. If you have to lug everything out every time, you are more apt not to do it and create that bad habit because it is not routine. It's not easy to do.
Yeah, I think having things come to you automatically is such a huge advantage, and that's where habits come in, right? We talked earlier about the morning, right? When you get up in the morning, do you kind of go, oh, what do I want to do? What do I want for breakfast? That when I wake up in the morning, I need things to be automatic. I need to know what I'm having for breakfast. I need to have everything ready so that it just becomes part of what I do. That sets my day up to be more successful because I've already accomplished one of those good things.
So again, go into Chachi and say, what's one thing that I can do to tweak my environment to support my goals, right? So, and again, you have to tell Chachi what your goal is, right? But if it's, you want to work out, you want to eat healthy, one of the things it might come up with would be the night before, write out what you're going to have on your list. What are you going to have for breakfast? So you don't have to think about it in the morning, because sometimes you wake up and you're like, I don't really know what I want. So if it's listed and you know what you're doing, you're more apt to get there. So saying everything we've said, if you're ready to stop waiting for motivation and start truly creating that real change that we've seen thousands of people do within our programs, then maybe the Ultimate Life Reset is exactly what you need.
Absolutely. I think so. So the doors are open now, but only for a limited time. Again, ultimatelifereset.com. If you're serious about kicking motivation to the curb and actually having a system that works, don't wait.
Yeah. So it's 90 days, starts March 5th, and we're going to make sure that you are going to move forward and create that life and the business you want. You are not going to stay stuck. You are going to take control. So if you are ready and committed, I want you to join us. If you're not quite ready, re-listen to this podcast and listen to our last couple of weeks and just ask yourself, how much longer are you willing to keep doing what you're doing.
Yep. I'll see you on the inside.